unashamed Hot Topic customer with a review for Sleeping With Sirens, How It Feels to Be Lost. This integral 2010s post-hardcore act are approaching their 10th year since their debut album, and that decade-long climb has been rocky in places. Thankfully, though, they're landing on their feet as they close out those 10 years. Sometimes an artist is really good at one particular thing, and they build an entire career on that thing, and then throw all of that stylistic success right out the window. These guys took a nosedive off the cliff of career suicide with their lifeless corpse of a last album, but thankfully the difference between these two are night and day. These guys have essentially gone through what I'm going to start calling the Weezer character arc, as they've essentially fixed all their wrongdoings by just going back to what made them good in the first place, and even though it doesn't break into any new territory, it works. This album is simple and effective like a courtroom bribe. The band just slid the judge some money and now they never have to answer for their past again. It's a quick dose of standard, yet satisfying post-hardcore bliss, and at the end of the day, that's kind of just all I want from these guys. It's got killer riffs, incredible hooks, and fantastic production that ties everything together and makes for a reliable and solid record. It's not anything particularly groundbreaking, but at the end of the day, it never claimed it would be, and you can diss McDonald's all you want, but at the end of the day, nothing beats it when you're hungover. One thing that really stood out to me with this record was the vocal melodies, and not even necessarily just Kellen Quinn's voice in general, but just the way he put together and arranged some of the notes he chose were fantastic. Some of the notes he goes for are just a little obtuse and outside the box, and they contrast beautifully with the crushing riffs in a way that I did not see coming. The title track is a really good example of this, particularly in the post-chorus where Kellen repeats the word lost twice, and on that second time, he moves the note maybe just a half step down, and it makes all the difference. If you've heard the song, you probably know what I'm talking about. Those tiny details in the vocal arrangement really make some of these songs stand out and pop in a satisfying way, and as a result, there's a lot of those little moments where you just want to go back 10 seconds and hear it again. The instrumentation is great as well, as the punchy and snarling guitars make for some really great moments over the pummeling rhythm section. I do have some issue with the writing in the instrumental department though, as a lot of the guitar riffs kind of fit into that poetic McDonald's metaphor from earlier. I'm a sucker for the distortion-drenched, dissonant, post-hardcore guitar sounds, but at the same time, part of me thinks the guitarist looked up how to write killer metal riffs online and took Nick Nocturnal's advice maybe just a little too closely. There is some good guitar material here, but even though it sounds fantastic, it's only a couple steps above plagiarism in points. They really do rehash a lot of ideas, but sounds good at the end of the day. As for the lyrical content, I think it's a step above the majority of their discography, but they haven't exactly penned a Bible sequel here. Most of the band's lyrics don't rise too far above hormonal angst territory, so it shouldn't really come as a surprise that this isn't the deepest music you're gonna hear. With this release, the lyrics sound at least insightful on the surface, and while they're not the teachings of Socrates, they're way better than If You Can't Hang. The lyrics are much less of a problem on this release than previous ones, but it's still worth mentioning that there's better stuff out there. At the end of the day, I'm really just happy that these guys didn't turn into the post-hardcore equivalent of Fall Out Boy. And by the way, that new Fall Out Boy is certainly something. This is, dare I say, not only a return to form, but probably my favorite album by them. It's the most consistent and fun and thoroughly enjoyable. And while it certainly has some flaws, most of them just boil down to basic genre tropes. I've heard much more emotionally intricate, life-changing, and artistic music than this, but sometimes when you get used to Belgian waffles, you just want an Eggo.